Welcome to another Value Talk. I am Colonel Manish Kochhar, your host for today's webinar. Value Talks, as you know, is an advisory platform for finance, real estate, issues related to real estate, and advice for successful transition of armed forces officers who are planning to make a switch in their career. We have a YouTube channel, we have a Telegram channel. Links to all these will be posted in the chat box. You can join them. So today we bring to you a very relevant discussion and a very relevant topic which is very close to my heart, that is successful transition of armed forces officer. And today's talk will be focusing on career opportunities in healthcare industry and specifically in big corporate hospitals. For today's talk, we have two of the industry stalwarts. Let's welcome Commander Navneet Bali.
Trying to keep my video off because of the bandwidth. Yeah, I'm in the train right now. Sorry about that. But
yeah, I know.
I'm still
Thank
there.
you so much that you could, still join. I know your last minute plans changed and you're in the train.
Yeah, I had to go to Jaipur Hospital in emergency, but
right.
yes, I'm there. I try to keep my
Right.
video off.
Right. You can keep your video off. No worries, Navneet. It's so wonderful to have you on board here. And
thank you.
Our next guest is Mr. Salim. Salim, are you there? Salim, sir.
Can you hear me, Saab?
Yes, sir. Very much audible. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Salim Rizvi. Before we proceed, I'll just give a brief introduction about our guest. Navneet is Commander Navneet Bali. First of all, he's a very dear friend and a very great human being. He's from 77th NDA course. He has completed his master's in finance from NIFM and BSc from JNU. Has done his financial administrative management course for Navy and a special course in strategic financial management. If I start reading his, CV, one session is not enough. Let me just tell you his most recent accomplishments. They include he's co-chairman of National Health Council at SOCHAM, President Delhi State Chapter of AHPI, CII North Region Health Council member. He is member of Health Subcommittee, ICAI, mentor for Atal Innovation Mission. He is board member for Medical ML, which is, I think it is machine learning. What is it? Navneet? MedML?
Well, it's an AI/ML based company out of
Okay,
the US.
so
the company is just shifted to US, so I'm a founder advisor of the company.
Lovely, great. And he's also board member of Ziva Fertility, another venture. And he's currently with Narayana Hridayalaya, and he's responsible for overall strategic planning, operations management, service excellence, and business development of entire northern region for Narayana Hridayalaya. Very impressive, Navneet, and it's really a privilege to have you on Value Talk today. Our next guest is Salim Rizvi. He is director of HealthCare. He is an experienced professional across various business functions related to healthcare brands, a veteran in virtually every spectrum of business development, sales, marketing of healthcare. His last role was Senior Vice President, Business Development, and he has been involved in planning, hiring, advising the HR department in tandem with the boards of various hospitals. He also works as an individual consultant to various hospitals in functioning of hiring, planning, and execution in budgeting, strategy, planning, analysis, and business development. So welcome, Mr. Salim Rizvi. It's really a privilege, sir, to have you on Value Talk today, and I'm sure both of you will, share your knowledge, experience, and your advice to our officers who are planning to make a career in this particular domain.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Saab. And of course, Commodore Bali is there. So speaking in that forum is a privilege for me. So it will be a real pleasure once we take forward the requirements and how do we use your platform for the veterans or for the people who have just taken up retirement, and how do we project them and get them into the main workforce of the hospital industry.
Okay, sir, I'll set the tone right actually. First, in the beginning itself, a successful transition of armed forces officers is a mission for Value Talk, is one of the missions for Value Talk. And we have been conducting these talks with various industry experts. In the past also, we have been having from cybersecurity, telecom, and, hospitality industry and security industry. So we have all these talks uploaded on the YouTube channel, and our aim is that the officers who are planning to switch the career, they should get the right advice, and they should be able to make up their mind, and also connect with people in respective domains and get the job which they want, and that too at the right level. So that's the whole aim. So I'll come straight to the talk now. Healthcare before pre-COVID and healthcare post-COVID has been, it has seen a tremendous change. So, Navneet, the question I'm asking is actually directed at both of you, but firstly you, changes in healthcare sector, pre-COVID and post-COVID, both from business perspective as well as job perspective. Yeah, of course.
I think COVID has completely transformed, or is in the process of transforming, the healthcare sector. The disruption which we were waiting for a very, very long time has actually now started happening in healthcare sector. So basically, moving into everything remote, the ethos being that the patient doesn't have to come to the hospital at all, except for getting a surgery done or getting a procedure done, or to get a test done. Everything else should happen at home, or everything should happen by the tap of the phone. So that has been the biggest change now, and we are moving towards that kind of a scenario in the future where patients only come to the hospital for very, very specific things. So you will.
So what Commodore Bali was saying, I think, I would take it a little back. Our trust in hospitals has been from the ages. Of course, from a small nursing home to a corporate hospital, the healthcare industry has moved, leaps and bounds. So pre-COVID, it was a fair business for the small nursing homes, for, as you call in the American parlance, the mom and pop shops. But now, with the kind of scenario which has changed with COVID coming in, as Commodore Bali said, we also from the industry and the patients from their own perspective feel safer at home or at places which are smaller and controllable in medical parlance, I would say. So all these things taking in, the workforce distribution has also changed in healthcare. Of course, managing one hospital or a group like Bali Saab is very different. But now you have all these telecommunication areas, you have the screening areas which are separate. So you have so many other places where the healthcare is moving towards a place which has multifunctional offices apart from the technical people who are working as doctors or as nurses or as any other qualified medical professional. So there are many venues which are there, which are not just manned by the the qualified personnel per se from the medical industry, but from the personnel, from the persons who are involved in management. Even Valisa would agree that even small little home care sector where people want just a pathological person to a phlebotomist to come over and take your blood for a sampling. All that is on paper a very heavy work
So,
to yeah.
so Salim sir, sorry to interrupt. So the business is increasing. That post-COVID and pre-COVID, there is a major technological shift, and more technology has come into healthcare system. Also, the way patients are being attended to. So how does it translate for the job prospects?
See, I would quote it from your one of your own old talks, where one of the HR gentlemen said that army people or the armed forces people, what they did in the army is not
Sir, sir, sir,
relevant.
sir,
Yeah.
I will come to the army people later, but
All right.
as a holistic this thing,
Okay.
job prospects, right?
Yeah. So, Karan Saab, there are many avenues which have opened which were not there before. As I said, small little phlebotomist, controlling a phlebotomist to go and take your blood from home. It was not a regular job for a hospital. Before it was a lab next door uh, that used to do the work. But now even this kind of a work has come to the hospital, or the hospital has
Right.
taken it in, or the hospital has taken it in as a revenue sector also, a bigger revenue sector, because no one wants to come to the hospital to give blood for a sample, for a small sample. So to answer your question, there are many, many avenues which were not there in the hospitals before have opened now.
Navneet, are you there?
I think he's going through a.
Okay, no worries.
I'm there.
Gentlemen,
I'm there. Hello,
okay.
All right.
So,
Manish.
yeah,
Yeah.
please. So, Navneet, as Mr. Rizvi said, hospitals have started taking on jobs which earlier were, delegated to the third party, and the operations have become more complex. So, I just wanted to know, how does it translate into the job prospects, overall job prospects? Have they increased? Have they reduced? And what are the opportunities at the leadership level? I'm not coming to what the army officer should do. I mean,
Right, right,
defense officer.
right. Yeah. So Manish, please, I'll take you back to the Industrial Revolution. When the spinning wheel and the power loom came in, uh, it was generally thought of that there'll be a lot of job losses, and but truly speaking, human beings started doing something very different, than what they were doing before that. We are now, so in the history, whenever you have disruptions, okay, there are no job losses, but there could be job transformations. Right now, healthcare sector is witnessing something of that sort. There are going to be different jobs available now. There are going to be more jobs available now in different ways they will be available. So in general, the jobs which were traditionally being seen in a hospital are going to transform themselves into. It's just like that. When people did not have a power loom, they used to do something with hand, and now they were supervising machines. So similarly, in healthcare sector, as I told you, this disruption using Internet of Things has happened. So something that was being done manually, something that was being done on sheets of paper, something that was being done on Excel sheets, something that was being done, sitting laboriously, is now being done by using the Internet of Things. In fact, as we speak, we are seeing that the traditional things that you saw in a hospital, like a front office desk, like a reception, like a billing manager, like a security head, like a person who was taking your blood sample, like the blood sample being taken from the phlebotomist to the lab. Now all this is changing. Very soon you will have hospitals without receptions. You will have the blood samples being taken from the sample room by small robots to your lab. You will soon have hospitals where there will be no sitting areas, no waiting rooms at all. It will be taken over by let us say a person who's sitting centrally in some place, and like an operation room of an army unit or a air force or naval unit controlling it. So the second part of your question is specifically you asked for the armed forces officers. So it's very, very clear, Manish, that people retiring from the armed forces will have to keep in line with the trends in the industry. So if you are going to be, positioned exactly how we were positioned 5 years back, 10 years back, looking at classic jobs, then we'll only end up a security head of a hospital. That also, actually speaking, is not good enough for officers, because that will be taken up by maybe a Haldar or a JS, a SNCO or something. And similarly, at non-medical head, that is one position which almost all armed forces officers who have gone into healthcare in last 15 years have traveled the path of becoming a non-medical head and then going on to becoming the unit head or something like that. Even those jobs are being going to be very, very technologically, enriched. So there will be ample opportunities for everybody, which includes armed officers. We'll talk about it again in the
Yes.
future. Again, but to say the least, we will have to transform ourselves in the armed forces to be ready for the jobs when people come out, let us say, starting from tomorrow up to next, let us say somebody who's on study leave and he comes out after 5 years or 6 years. And that is what is going to happen then.
Right, right. So both Salim sir and Navneet, before we, starting this talk, I had released a promotional video. And in that, I had requested people to just go and visit one or two of the top hospitals in their respective cities and see what all is happening. Actually, if I go to, say, Narayana Hridayalaya or Artemis or Medanta or any other such hospital, Cloud9, the hospitals today have totally transformed. It's buzzing with activity. So much of activity is there. Somebody is getting something clean, somebody is taking some evidency thing is happening. So many things happening at one go only. And that, tells me that there are so many functions which require attention and which require coordination and which require constant monitoring, something which comes, very naturally to a process-oriented defense officer. So I will come to that. Also, India now supplies, medicines, vaccines, doctors, nurses. It's a healthcare, supplier to the world now. So I hope that all this is also translating into jobs. The union budget has also allocated more money. The total public expenditure on health has also increased. So all this somewhere is saying that it's a very sunrise sector at the moment. So what are the pitfalls and rewards of working in a hospital if this is a sunrise sector? Salim sir, you can take on first and then Navneet will also.
See, calling any place a sunrise sector or, it has a lifespan. Industries have come up and gone down. There are no industries which were the same, which were there 10 years ago. Same is the case with the hospitals. I would not call it a sunrise thing, but a necessity which is, a basic requirement of a human being.
We cannot do without it. Yes.
Yeah. So if we are there in numbers, the numbers of healthcare will always increase. It would not decrease. As Bali Saab said, a lot of things would be automated, but automation doesn't mean that we would not have people around. We will have keep having people, and we will keep having places which are coming up. So, Colonel Saab, basically what you asked was, is it beneficial to be in the healthcare sector at this time, or look at it as an industry where one can come in as a job change, or are there any pitfalls? Both would always remain there for any industry. I can't say that everyone would be benefited, or I can't say that everyone would face challenges, because that is the question.
So to uh, Salim, your voice is breaking. I'll switch to Navneet. Navneet, are you there? Today we are having that uh,
Yes, yes.
one of the
No, Manish, I'm
technical
there.
glitches day.
I've been
Yeah.
So to answer your question very simply, Manish, I think armed forces personnel who are technologically sound, who are abreast of the changes happening around them, have read up, have trained themselves, are going to find them of great value outside. But those officers or men who are rooted back into tradition, who have not seen this change coming, they will find themselves into great disadvantage. So if you need to really, really hitch on this ride of this sector changing over, where there will be huge amount of jobs being created, I think the personnel from armed forces need to relearn or maybe learn more, keep abreast with technology, be aware of what are the changes happening. And that's the only way they'll be able to benefit. They'll be able to do something better outside. Yeah.
Yeah, Navneet, that's a great thing. But since I know you personally and I have seen you, growing in us 3, 4, 5 years, you are the best person to answer this. What are the pitfalls and rewards of working in a hospital, since you are in a hospital right now? The challenges, pressures, stress, targets, blessings, and satisfactions. The kind of blessings which you have
Yeah.
earned, Navneet Bali, is no mean achievement.
Yes. So I think I'll answer your question in two parts, Manish. I'll segregate the emotions and the blessing part from the business part. So
Yeah,
corporate hospitals basically are either publicly listed companies, or they are not publicly listed companies where you have a proprietor or an owner or whatever. So if you're a publicly listed company, you are answerable to your shareholders, and you are responsible to be making more. So as those of you who have read economics and who have done your masters in business, there is a term called value of firm. So a public listed company or a company, the basic role is to continue to increase the value of the firm, and that means you have to generate profit. So simply put, the stress or the target achieving kind of a role uh, uh, business is exactly similar what a armed forces person will face when he's in healthcare. It's exactly similar. So there are going to be business targets. There are going to be things that you need to achieve. There are going to be looking at costs. They're going to be looking at efficiencies. They're looking at a person when they hire what he or she can bring on the table as an individual. So that's as far as the business part is concerned. And let us look at the other part of the story, which is more emotional and sentimental and blessings. Well, I think people from armed forces throughout their life have earned huge amount of blessings from the country. Healthcare sector also gives you that kind of an opportunity once more. But that that is a very, very person to person kind of a person who's in healthcare sector who's completely detached, and he just is there for a job. He does his job and goes home. But there could be another person who's completely attached to the patients, to the attendants, who feels for them. So rewards are immense of working in a healthcare sector, as you rightly said. healthcare and education are two sectors which are quite resilient to whatever happens, because you always want a hospital, you will always want a school, as they say. So this is one of those sectors which I think will always remain in demand. But if you're looking at pure blessings,
I want to tell all my viewers that Navneet uh, has done a wonderful, wonderful job. And, I think on everyday basis, the kind of, the amount of service, the amount of help he is extending to whosoever approaches him is really commendable. Salim sir, is it a friendly, veteran-friendly domain? It's a still, we are not actually, the defense armed forces officers do not have anything in common per se. If it is, we are not healthcare specialists, and we don't have to be. But is it a veteran-friendly domain? And uh, vis-a-vis like telecom sector, there are many healthcare, many armed forces veterans, security, many armed forces veterans. So I just want to know, is the industry open, especially Navneet Bali setting an example, and there are a few others as well.
Bali Saab ko agar if we even separate Bali Saab from the industry, which is impossible, there are many more. I ask you a question. Are you friendly enough to get into another industry when you become a veteran?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So why won't any other industry accept you? Why only telecom? Why only administration?
Yeah, so the question, I just wanted this point to come out, that since it's perceived as a specialist industry, a little different. The people are not looking at this industry, but now that it has become a big uh, industry with business targets, and it's a visible industry now, very, very visible industry. I think veterans have also started looking at this industry a little differently, and I'm sure after people like Navneet Bali and a few others who have joined this industry and who have made a name for themselves and for their organization, a lot of people would be interested in this. So, what are the kind of roles which can be taken up by veterans in this particular industry besides security?
Colonel Saab, I'll just take a 1 minute and I'll give my background. I'm a IHM pass out from Lucknow Institute, 1991. I did
Okay.
hotels. When I came out of the hotels, I did American Express for 6 years. And post that, just 14 years, 15 years ago, I joined the hospital industry, and that was just just a walk-in to one of the premier hospitals of Gurgaon, where I met the MD. The simple question he asked me, he offered me a job of marketing manager, and I told him I'm not a marketing guy. I am a pure karchi, kadai, तेल वाला आदमी, मसाले पीसने वाला आदमी. I don't know marketing. He said, then what have you done in your life? I said, my only thing is people connect. So he said, that's the only job you have to do. You have to connect. It could be your internal customers, it could be your external customers. So from very specifically, without going into any other avenue or walking any other path, I would say, Colonel Saab, that the biggest thing I think the armed forces carry, the personnel carry with them, is the connect. They connect with innumerable number of people, different places, different roles, different. So they know how to connect. If you know how to connect, you could be sitting in the the surgical store and managing the surgical store without knowing ABC of the drugs. Because there are other people who are qualified enough to help you, but they need a person who can connect, who can control, who can foresee. The biggest thing in the industry now is to foresee what is coming in. After the pandemic, the biggest problem that we all faced was that we were not looking ahead for diversities in the healthcare. So to answer your question, I would not say, I'm not from the industry, a very old industry guy, just a young guy in that. But the industry is open to people who can see, manage, control, because there is a lot of, as one of my bosses ever said, that, that's the only place where I have come in not with a good heart. I need empathy. I need people to talk to me. I need people who could be, who could just tell me what's happening. If one can do that, the industry is open to everyone.
Right. Thank you. So, my question, part of my question is still unanswered. What are the roles which a veteran can kind of aspire for in a hospital, in a corporate office?
Okay. So I think you got me, Manish, that non-medical head of a hospital is a role that armed forces officers usually start their career within healthcare. They think to you're of an IT background, of an analytical IT background, then I've seen some of the officers getting into supply chain using blockchain, maybe into IT transformation. So these are the two roles I have seen armed forces officers getting into the care. One is in the IT transformation. Specifically, I'm asking this question for you.
So IT transformation, yes.
I think what I think Balisa was saying, that the armed forces, especially the officers, higher officer rank, a good place would be as the administrative head. But Manish, I have a small digression from this. Is how do we present our
No,
armed
I'll come to that. I will not jump the gun. I'll come to that.
No, so
How do we present?
No. See, the question is that it is a related question, Manish. The thing is, if you are asking me, what are the avenues open for armed forces people?
Yes.
What are the roles? Understanding the thing of the hospital, as I told you, what you need is you need to be there to understand and to foresee. So, as Bali Saab said, the medical supply system, the supply chain system is a huge, huge thing for the hospital, because that is the money drainer for us. Then, of course, the basic, I would say, even a basic administration of a fleet of ambulances.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who have fleets,
So that will come into HR only, I think. Sorry, administration only.
Yeah. So, but there can be many roles depending upon the hospital's magnanimity.
So what I understand from Navneet's response and your response is that, first of all, there are 2-3 kinds of role. One is from the IT side, supply chain side, where you need to have some kind of technical knowledge. If you're aiming for IT, then you need to have that kind of knowledge for IT administration of the entire hospital or the group of hospitals, I mean chain of hospital. And then you have the supply chain, this thing, and if you are a well-read person who keeps himself abreast of the technology, then you can use blockchain, etc., all these latest technologies, and you can go for the supply chain side of it. Third is the administration, which itself has taken enormous size now. It has become very huge now. So there are chains of hospitals, these corporate hospitals. Narayana Hridayalaya, I think there are 7-8 of them or 10 of them in the country. Then they have like Medanta is there. Apollo Hospitals has a big chain. So you can have a role specific to a certain region or pan-India, or I mean, it's the administrative side also is huge responsibility in a hospital, right?
True.
And also, since In a hospital, you have medical legal side aspect also. So you have to have connects with you have to interact with uh, civil agencies, police, etc., etc. So that also comes handy. Your armed forces background comes handy in that also. That is also a big plus for this thing. So what is the preparation required? So, and then there is business side also. Sorry, I missed out the business side also.
Big
So
one.
then you have people who have done MBA or have some kind of business side experience. They can look after the business side of the hospital. After all, hospital also is it's a business only. You have
Obviously.
to have increased footfall. You have to have more number of patients coming to your hospital. You have to generate revenue, and so that side is also there. So people who have done MBA also can look towards joining, business side of this particular domain. So what are the preparation required? Does a course like MHA, Masters in Hospital Administration, or Masters in Business Administration, does this help,
Yes.
or any other course?
Yeah, any other course. After joining the hospital industry, I did my MHA from Pune uh, because I had run into the industry. I had worked there from the grassroots level. But then I also thought that, there should be some technical thing behind me. A technical knowledge or a diploma is always helpful. I would not say it is the only thing which can get you a job, but it is one of the tools where you understand where the other person, as you asked a question related to it, what are the preparations? That could be a big preparation. The other side understands that you have come to the industry with an open mind to work in this industry. No one at this level, Manish, no one wants to invest in personnel and lose them, because the biggest investment is personal investment. My job, my role, my place, changing places, changing people would never help. The roles that you were defining right now that could be taken, there are hospitals which are going in for mergers. There are hospitals which are doing greenfields. There are hospitals which are doing brownfield job. Everywhere, a person who could be responsible for the job could be a veteran. So I look at it at a very different area than what Bali Saab said, that they are regulated jobs. I think there are many places, and to come back to your question, is what should I prepare to present? That is the
So
most important thing.
right. So I'll come to that also. How my this thing is that, suppose now there are officers who don't plan too much in advance, but there are which itself is wrong. So if somebody is coming out, say somebody has to come out 1 year later.
Mhm.
I mean, one should, if somebody knows when is he planning to come out of the uniform, then at least a year's preparation, I think, is required. And during that year, or maybe more, and during that time, one should arm himself. If somebody is very clear that he wants to be in a healthcare sector, then maybe Masters of Hospital Administration is one course which may help, which can also be. And then MBA is if somebody wants to be in the HR side, then MBA HR would help. Finance is also a evergreen
Right.
field. Every business requires it. So MBA is also a great help in getting a job in hospitals, along with other things, whatever your own skills are.
Right.
So that is one preparation, and that is the kind of courses one can do. But is there any other specific course which, besides hospital administration, is there any other specific course which can guarantee you a good job in hospital? I don't know, so I'm asking.
Yes. Okay. So, initially, for the masters that you spoke of, and you spoke of uh, um, the IHMR this kind of a MHA, Masters in Hospital Administration. Um, I think maybe what else officers leaving could look at is something to do with IT transformation, something to do with business transformation, something to do with uh, digital marketing. By the way, digital marketing is a huge opportunity right now. For people to get into because the entire gamut of marketing industry is now transforming from analogous, is transforming from the traditional way of marketing into digital marketing. In fact, in my house now, we should spend close to, if you look at core hospitals, about 1 crore per month on marketing. In the
Wow.
traditional ways, we are moving almost 90% of that into now digital marketing. So, these very niche areas. The problem, Manish, is that, you know, for us in armed forces, we don't get opportunities to either excel in these courses or to do these courses. Most of us end up in doing many stupid, these DGR kind of courses, which mean nothing outside at all. Some of us are lucky enough to do this. I am 6 months executive MBA. Many of us who go into study leave, doing a course, although no education is useless entirely, but it depends on where you want to use it. Then you have to serve for 5 years more. And by the time you come out, you've done this course like 5 years back, and you've not even done anything in extension to that course. Let us say you did a IHMR, you did a hospital management course, and then you went for your study leave, and then you came out after study leave after 5 years. So it's very variable. Thankfully, I'm on a station, so I have a good connectivity. I can speak a little more, if you permit me, Manish. So
Yeah,
many of
sure.
the questions that
Why
you
not?
asked earlier, many of the things that people have intriguing questions in mind, I will take some time so that again the connectivity will go. So two, three
Yeah,
important things to now. Please listen,
right.
yeah, everyone. Number one, it depends on what stage of your career you're leaving the service. A short service commission officer leaving after, let us say, who has entered the service, let us say at the age of what, 22, 23, plus let us say 8 more years, leaves the service at around 31, 32, with the IM executive MBA, versus a career officer or an officer who takes a PMR at the end of, let us say, 24, 25 years, 5 years, after 52 years, all right? All three of them at different ages are going to be differently placed, are going to be differently treated. And also they will have different aspirations at what levels to join, what job they can do or they can't do. So it's a very variable kind of thing. What I would also, just for a comparison's sake, when you're going to come out, let's say you retire as a brigadier or a colonel, and equivalent in Army and Air Force, and sorry, Navy and Air Force, and you come out almost at the middle level management or higher management levels into the health sector, and the jobs that are not going to be at the top of the food chain, obviously, because no company is going to take you at that level. They will take you somewhere uh, middle or sub middle level kind of a job, and so you again have to claw back. I will give you my example. So I took PMR in 2014 with 23 and a half years of service. And I think one single factor which helped me, and two factors, and that's very important for everyone who's sitting here on the call today, and maybe they can pass on this message everywhere. I was not a hospital management guy, okay? I was an MBA in finance. The only thing that helped me was when I was in MDI Gurgaon doing my fellowship in finance, which I wanted to do on my own. I met some people there who were in healthcare sector, and when I told them that I'm going to put in my papers, they said, "Why don't you try healthcare sector?" And then thereafter, I got very lucky. So destiny, your luck, and the people that you know are very most important thing when armed forces people. I think that is the single most important factor when armed forces officer leaves, the army, navy, or air force. So the most critical thing for people who are leaving or thinking of going, number one, they have to get to people who are already there in this sector. Either they are the ex 4Gs, or they are people whom they know, friends and families who are there in the sector. That is point number one. The second thing is very, very important. Be ready to slog it out initially. The first job is very, very difficult to get. It is not so easy. As I said, I was damn lucky. Okay, I had no qualification, and but then what I have achieved in 8 years, and I think God has been extremely kind to me, is what people achieve in 30 years in healthcare. But that was just because number one, I knew people who helped me for my first job. Secondly, I got damn lucky. So I think what is the most important factor is number one, what you did in army, okay, what you did in the Navy or Air Force has got no relevance at all in the corporate world, except that they know that you're a trustworthy guy, your ethics are in place, and you're a person who will is disciplined. Okay, that's all about it. So, and that is discounted for. Do you bring more business? What can you do to bring more business? You don't know anything at all. Can you cut costs? You just don't know the system. So how will you cut costs? Are you a person who's related to service industry, service excellence, patient friendliness, bringing? You're not, because you've never done that kind of a role at all. So, it's very, very critical for everybody who's sitting on the call today to be connected to somebody either in the healthcare sector. I've spoken about it before also. I touched about one more point. It's not so very important for you, especially after you leaving service after, let us say, 23 years, 24 years, to be masters in hospital administration. You could be masters in supply chain. You could be masters in HR. You could be masters in finance. But obviously, yes. I mean, see, being just a graduate from JNU, like we were in after NDA, I would have been nowhere actually speaking. So increased education does give you a flip. So you need to skills, if possible, know a lot of people, if possible, be connected, and if God is kind to you and your destiny is little bit, which I think we as it is are very lucky people, you're going to get into it. I also spoke about the roles that you get. Very, very specifically, I'll tell you, out of at least 10 armed forces people whom I know in the industry today, okay, which includes Colonel Chael, which is Hunter, who is Hunter 56. He joined Fortis Noida as a non-medical head, and today he's in the Max Hospital as something. He heads, I think, one or two hospitals. Then there was another gentleman, a colonel, whom again I saw as a non-medical head in Fortis Noida. And there are a couple of youngsters who are short service commissioned, who are from Navy, Army, and Air Force. Again, I saw them as non-medical heads, or I saw them as something to do with business transformation. Many of them who came from IAM, short service commission officers from IAM, doing executive MBA, are also in this business analytical role. So let us say you have this acumen of doing business analysis. Okay, you could get into the corporate straight away because you are an armed forces officer. You have some kind of a level. You've done this kind of a course. You move into a corporate world and do business analysis. But also remember, now along with the traditional ways of analyzing business, you have also business intelligence softwares by Microsoft, which gives you that kind of a thing that you must know that. So to sum up the entire thing, Manish, you can get into a hospital as a non-medical head. You can get into a hospital as a business analyst. You can get into a hospital as a supply chain head, because many officers, especially coming from Ordnance Corps, ASC. But let me tell you very frankly, a civilian does not know the difference between infantry, artillery, ASC, OC at
Right,
all. He knows nothing
right.
about it, Manish. So this is what I wanted to say. So I've summed up the entire thing for the benefit of everyone.
One more question is, uh, Salim says, I'll first ask him. I'll come to you. We can continue with you later also. This thing is, how does an officer pitch himself? As you rightly said, industry doesn't know what is the army, air force, and I mean, what is the infantry, artillery, etc., etc. You know, so how does one pitch himself for a
Yeah.
role in this domain?
Okay. So Manish, first and foremost important thing, just as we hear in newspapers when we are using people who actually help your cause, you will not be able to pitch yourself at all. Nobody believes in you. Okay, you will need people who will pitch it for you, and so you will need people in the right places who will help you to pitch yourself. That is the most critical aspect. The second
So
important thing,
networking.
networking, knowing people. Second important thing, Manish, is to make a CV which contains nothing of what you've done in your army. Please don't write, I've done anti-terrorist operations, I've done infiltration, I commanded a unit, I commanded a Pulton or a sea ship, I did so much so in the Air Force, I flew this Jaguar. It has got no meaning at all. Please sum up your entire career into one paragraph. If you tell me, I'll send you my CV, you can send it to the entire network of yours when I first made my CV. In fact, on my LinkedIn profile, when you go, please go through it. I mean, I would request people who are on the call or whatever to go through my LinkedIn profile. The armed forces thing, it is written, whatever number of 24 years I've written. It's just one single paragraph. Commanded or headed, organizations, did something for the manpower, did something for the cost, and that's all about it. It's over. I've not mentioned what I did on a ship and submarines. I not mentioned what I did with anti-submarine warfare. I never mentioned what I did to all those, things that I commissioned or did not commission. Nothing at all. Nobody's bothered about it. But yes, after that, whatever I have done, if you go through my profile, then one job, in that job, what did I do? It is very detailed. My Rockland profile is almost like a huge, huge paragraph, specifics. Then I went to international oncology. I was a group CEO there. What have I done? It's very specific. In NH, what am I doing? It's very specific. And I'll tell you something. Let me be very, very honest with you. First job is difficult. Luck plays a great amount of role. Your networking plays a great amount of role. People who will help you will play a great amount of role. But after that, if you have, I read the national, this one, SOCHAM, which is the largest body of trade in India today. I'm its co-chairman. All right. I mean, I'm heading, I am the founder, advisor of two companies. There's a startup, MedML.in. It started in India. The company now is based in the US. Okay, I'm an advisor for the company. Infertility chain is just starting up. They called me. I'm a founder advisor of that company, actually speaking. I'm doing healthcare. I'm not a classical healthcare administrator. I'm just an ordinary guy who came out of services
Right.
from NDA, who had no qualification, maybe just an MBA. But the thing is, after I was lucky in my first job, Manish, it is what I did after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Navneet, your voice has started breaking. Is it? I think the train has started moving. Uh, so, what he has said is, first of all, you need to sharpen your axe. That's one thing, and you need to sharpen your axe. You need to have increase your qualification. You need to network. You need to uh, interact with people who are in the industry you want to join. So that is one this thing uh, which I gathered from here, and also uh, whatever you have done in the army, you may be got you may have topped some army course, etc., etc., has got no relevance at all, unless that particular course what you have done is very specific to that job. Then yes. Otherwise, topping you may have topped some junior command or senior command course has got no relevance. So there's no point mentioning all that. It just goes on to say that you are academically very good. Nothing else, nothing less. So, Salim sir, I mean, what should one highlight in CV? Actually, we have already covered this, but still, I would, from your experience, I mean, I would still ask this question: what should one highlight in the CV, and how long the CV should be?
See, as Bali Saab said very correctly, your CV might have 10 things, but irrelevant to the industry, so it is irrelevant to write. Just,
Right.
I would say, I would tell every officer who's trying to flip a job and get into any industry, leave aside healthcare, they should know the industry first. If you know what happens in the hospitals, then what you have done in your armed forces roles, then you can correlate it. So if you have done, you guys have always done budgetings, you guys have done, cost cuttings. How do we do that? But how do we adapt it to the industry? Where can we take it on? Is the question that you can ask yourself first. That, I did this role. How would this role be beneficial in the industry? If you don't know, this forum is open. Colonel Saab can collect those questions. We can collectively answer
Yes.
what are the kind of roles available, what are the kind of things that we are looking for in the industry. But one simple tagline for me, as Bali Saab said, he was not a seasoned hospital guy or a healthcare. Neither am I. I established myself in 13, 14 years. He did it in less than time than me. But the only thing that I have understood in the industry is to be there, be truthful, because this industry is purely, it's a soul industry, I would say. I'm from the hotels also. That was the industry which I enjoyed because I could do many things because the guests coming in were in a different mood. Here, the people who are coming, and to what one of my teachers told me was that if you are there, you need to listen to them, understand, empathize, and do their work. At least tell them, boss, don't worry, things are happening. Give me 10 minutes, I'll get back to you. And I think from an armed forces perspective, every officer has that in him. They can be people's man.
Thank you, Salim. Thank you so much for having the trust in the armed forces officers. Just one more thing, and then I'll open that question answer session. And if first of all, ladies and gentlemen, whatever Navneet said, being lucky, that's because he's honest. It's not always the luck which carried him this far. It's a whole lot of hard work and lot of empathy, attitude, aptitude. So all those things combined with luck is the one is what resulted in where Navneet is today, and it's not purely because of luck. I don't believe him, and it's just his modesty. I mean, he's just being modest about his success. So my distinct question is, one question is, what if someone wants to be an entrepreneur in this domain? What is the scope? So now that everything, so many things are going on, and where does one start?
See, being an
I don't know whether
entrepreneur.
this question is you're the right person or Navneet is the right person, but
No,
just the scope.
Navneet Saab has been, as he said, lucky to get in
Yeah,
and to work on a specified line. I have done my entrepreneurship in this also. I have done my consultations. See, anywhere anyone is open to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to be, but uh, basics and being there. If I open something which is not my 90% domain or an 80% domain, Colonel Saab, then I would be dependent upon others.
right.
So the revenue would be shared by others.
So I have a little different view, ladies and gentlemen. The kind of data which is being generated right now in healthcare sector, and the way it is now being collected also. Earlier, it was a very unregulated. It was being done in a very unregulated manner. Now it's quite regulated, and a lot of data is being generated and collected and retained in the organizations, and a lot of insights is taken out of these data. And even in the insurance industry and claims, etc., there is a lot of opportunity for basically for artificial intelligence, machine learning domain, and blockchain for supply chain, etc. For all those who are from the tech side, can always look at this. Of course, you would require some kind of domain knowledge. For that, you may get in touch with some person who is from this domain and who has the expertise of that domain, and you be the tech, you handle the tech side of it. But there are opportunities, but I will not dwell upon it. The aim was not to touch upon this aspect. I'm though both Salim and Navneet both have been very, very open, and they have covered almost all points. But I will still invite questions from the audience. If there are any questions, please ask. You can now. The forum is open. You can raise your hand, please, and then ask. I'll keep announcing the names. Okay. Tushar.
Good evening. My name is Colonel Tushar. Thank you. This was a lovely forum. I want to thank you and Salim ji and Commander Navneet for the insights given. You see, I had approached a gentleman some time ago. I've written it in the text also. He himself is a retired Fauji, but somewhere there's an apprehension that maybe there's another person who wants to take my place or something. So I have retired after 33 years of service, and yes, I understand that the level that I will be taken into the industry is different from probably what a short service officer leaves. I have also acquired the skill of Masters in Hospital Administration from Hyderabad, from Administrative Staff College. And then after study leave, because you have to do 3 years, one has been a little out of touch. I faced a few interviews. I'm hopeful of joining a hospital very soon. But that, no, if as Fauji's we ourselves are not willing to help each other, then there's something amiss somewhere. Even if someone is in another town and if he approaches you, I'm sure the whole attitude should be to hold a finger and take him just 2 baby steps. He will walk the rest of the distance himself. I wish to bring this point out.
I mean, it's just unfortunate that you approached a person and he turned out to be like this. But it's not always the case. And in fact, the whole initiative of this particular talk, this series of talks, is this only to help armed forces officers. It's aimed at armed forces officers, and I have seen many officers, helping. You can always, ask for help in the Telegram channel also, and I'm sure that whatever qualification you acquired as far as Masters in Health Administration, I think you said, is going to help you, and you can try other officers also. If you have one bad experience, that doesn't mean that all others are like this. So
Yes,
I'm sure that you will definitely find. But now that you have had this experience, please make sure that when you are in a position, you also help out. You go all out to help others. That is the lesson which we have to learn from this, sir.
Yes, definitely. And I am with Salim ji when he says that when you asked what is the kind of entry, I don't exactly recollect the question, but what does the armed forces guy bring to the table? It is what you are willing to bring to the table, or what you are willing to learn from the organization. I was asked this question specifically in one of the hospitals, that, sir, you are looking at joining us at the age of 54. How do you see this paradigm shift? I said, yes, it's a sea change from what I've done, but what I've done was in the past. I will be learning from you, and I will be asking all your people for help, and then I will take it forward. I will bring my experiences or my past, the way I have worked. I will try to put that in place, and I will try to correlate with what I have done. That is what I will bring to you, but I will be in the learning mode.
So Tushar sir, one thing is, I have been in the industry, not in the healthcare industry, but otherwise, one thing is, industry is very clear. They don't expect you to start firing from day one. They know that armed forces officer bring a certain set of values. So they know the benefits of hiring a armed forces officer, and a little bit of hand holding in the initial phases is what is required, and that you generally get it. So it's fine. And whatever you said in that interview, I think it was perfectly in line with what they wanted to hear, I think, and I'm sure that you will be hired. This thing.
Thank you.
And when you are hired, please connect in the Telegram group, and do tell us also that you are now in that particular hospital, so that whenever anybody is in need, can approach you. Okay, Anil Ratan.
Okay, good evening, everyone. And firstly, thank you very much for this wonderful forum. I just want to give you a slightly different perspective, which might help a few gentlemen here. As also, then I would have a specific question which I want to ask.
Anil sir.
Yeah.
Please, I think you asked the question because Navneet, Bali is on train.
Okay.
And the connectivity is poor. So
okay, fair
I
enough.
would use.
Okay, I'll come to the point. I just wanted to ask, what are the opportunities? I mean, where exactly can we connect up for opportunities? Why I wanted to give you a little bit of a background is that I left the service about 14 years back. I have been with the corporate world for the last 14 years. I was with Mahindras, and then I have been an operations head at an organization. I have recently shifted location for kind of finally settling down in Delhi NCR in Gurgaon. I am very, very interested in healthcare, but I like most of us, I do not have much malumat about the healthcare industry per se. But I have done supply chain, I have done operations, I have done administration, I have done security.
What's the question, sir?
So my question is, in the healthcare industry, where do I put in an application wherein I can showcase what I'm capable of doing for an organization? Mr. Rizvi could perhaps, guide me, or Mr. Bali or Commander Bali could assist on these things as to where exactly can I go? Because in Delhi NCR, there should be huge amount of opportunities. So that's my question.
Karan Saab, should I take it on?
Yeah.
See, Ratan Saab, the thing of saying that whom do you connect is something which Commander Bali has always been saying for a long time. There is a connect. If you want to go directly, there are various sites to go through. But if you come through the channel, if you need any help, Colonel, Kochhar is there, or these guys can help you in getting those things organized, which we all can help you in putting across to the right channel, to the right people.
Thank you. I'll take it up with Colonel Kochhar in that case. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody else who wants to ask a question, please?
So I'm Lakshman and Naveen, sir. I just wanted to ask a question. So it's been close to 5 years. I've been working in healthcare IT, sir, in the Navy, sir.
Go ahead,
So
please.
my question is, sir, I've been handling healthcare IT in the Indian Navy, sir, for the last 5 years. I've been handling the entire IT setup, right from the on-premise data center, the healthcare application, the automation, the laboratory integration system, the radiology integration system. So my question is, sir, what prospect should I be looking if I'm because I'm retiring December this year, sir?
How much of service have you got?
Sir, 10 years, sir.
10 years. Sky is the limit.
I'm retiring in December this year, sir.
Okay. Right. Salim, would you like to take it on?
Yes, sure. Colonel Saab, as you said, he has, there is no limit to him. He is a technically, happening guy who's done the work. He can surely get into any hospital on multiple forums, not just the IT industry, but since he's handled a lot of things on the background, he can surely look into any of the healthcare, and that could be starting from a from a small little pathology center to a corporate hospital or a chain of hospitals. He could be absorbed anywhere.
And also the diagnostic centers, the chain
Right.
of diagnostic centers,
Right.
the diagnostic startups. There's so many. There's a huge opportunity for a person like you. So Nipun Yadav.
I'll request all those who are in this call as a support to Value Talks, please subscribe the YouTube channel so that any future talk, if you miss it out, you can view it on our YouTube channel. Also join the Telegram group. I provided links for both of them. In case you want to have any subsequent questions with Colonel Kochhar, myself, or any of the guests whom we invite, then you can ask them on the Telegram group.
And gentlemen, that was Captain Vipul Choudhary for you, co-founder of Value Talks, and a multifaceted personality. You will find, once you see the YouTube channel, you will find his speciality in the real sector in the finance domain. Okay, so thank you, Vipul. Nipun, please ask your question related to the hospital and healthcare sector.
Sir, right, sir.
Sir, sorry,
Sir, mainly what all qualification we can add on, because as in COVID scenario, we have each and everyone has done some management over there and these things, sir. Regarding hospitality and specifically in that domain, what all the courses we can do it. And secondly, if someone has already been for 6-7 months, he has done something in installation and these oxygen concentrator, what other things he can be doing, sir, in healthcare management, sir? Mainly the courses which we can do, because there are many courses floating around. Everyone wants to do something and something, but if we want to focus on hospital line, sir, so what are the courses, sir?
So I think it is already covered, but I will ask founder of HealthCare to answer this question.
So, thank you, Colonel Saab. See, Yadavji, as you said, helping out in COVID, yes, that's something which you have just seen for 5, 10, 15 days, 20 days, 1 month, 2 months. But that really doesn't help. It is just a background. Courses, as described by Bali sir and Kochhar Saab, both were very clear that any kind of administrative, any finance background, HR background, hospital administration, it is just at this age I'm very sure, and I can say it, I don't say it for younger generation, is that these courses are just papers. Those are just names. You need to adapt to the industry. You need to get in. As Bali Sahab said, you have to be lucky for the first time, but the second time, luck doesn't count. As Kochhar said, Manish said that it's not luck only, it is hard work. You being there and performing under the industry stress. It is a 24/7 industry which takes the hell out of you. It is not a corporate world where you get a Saturday, Sunday. We work when no one wants to work. We work on Holi, we work on Diwali, we work on Eid, we work on, you name it. So there are no holidays. There is no planning. I come from an industry before this where I used to plan my yearly holidays and have a 10-day leave, 10-day leave, announced leave. And I used to say, would be out of network. So please leave a message. I'll get back when I would be, in a place where I can answer you back. Here, the only thing I learned in this industry is that you cannot switch off your phone. So, Nipunji, if you want to get into this industry, read about it. MHA would help you if you are not interested in finance, if you're not interested in HR, if you're interested in supply chain. There are avenues. Short courses will help you just to step in, and then it is your work, nothing else.
Right. Thank you. Any other question?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir. I'm really sorry. I'm Lieutenant Colonel A.B. Singh, sir. I am a doctor, and I will be leaving this organization after 14 years of physical service next year in February. Sir, I have done my post-graduation in aerospace medicine from IIM Bangalore. Okay. And I have underwent some courses also, postgraduate diploma in hospital and healthcare management, postgraduate diploma in quality management in hospital and healthcare from Symbiosis. Then I have Lean Six Sigma, Green Belt and Black Belt. Then I have enrolled myself for executive program in healthcare management from IIM Kolkata. and I'm planning for. I have started for PMP also. I have
You are planning to dislodge Mr. Dr. Shetty, Dr. Shetty and
that
Dr.
one
Trehan.
AB. Sir,
No, I'm
sir,
saying he's planning to dislodge. He's done so much in this particular thing. So you
sir.
have got all the things going for you. So what is the question?
Sir, I have two options. I'm opening board for I am either I will join airlines, or either if I don't get that chance, if I don't get the opening, I will go into healthcare management in a corporate hospital. What are the avenues in that, and how to get into that, all those things, sir, with this profile?
Wow. Yeah.
Not easy for me, but see, one thing that we really missed, Manish, was quality. Mr. Brajamani has come up with a very, very valid point. We did not talk about the quality sector in the hospital or the healthcare industry,
Yeah.
which is very big, very, very big now. So, Brajamani Saab,
Sir,
you have options galore. You
sir,
need to tell us what sector do you want. You could be in the emergency section of the hospital. You could be in the administrative section of the hospital. You could be in the OT. A very big opportunity that we have is the OT management.
sir.
I can keep on naming, and you can apply for it.
So, Mr.
Sir,
Brajamani, what I will tell you is that since you are a doctor,
sir,
you have to decide whether you want to be in the clinical side or you want to
Right.
be on the administrative side or the business
sir,
side. That
uh,
is your call.
sir,
And
with my specialty, either I will go for administrative side, or sir, my specialty is aviation medicine, sir, which will be very difficult in a corporate hospital. Either I can join there for as a class 1 medical examiner for the aviation for the pilots. Otherwise, I will go for the administrative section, sir.
so, right. So I'm sure for aviation medicine also, there must be so many avenues and there may not be many people also.
Sir,
So what I will do is that I will in the Telegram channel, I'll request Vipul, you had posted if you're on the call, you had posted an email earlier on which we collected certain CVs. So if you can post it again, we'll collect his CV also and we'll forward it to Mr. Rizvi and Navneet and others also who are there in our, circle of influence. And I think that should do the trick. But at the same time, why don't you also look for aviation medicine jobs on LinkedIn and other such portals? That may
sir,
also be
sir, I'm also
there.
looking that, sir, also, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, one more question, sir. It is not
Yeah,
related.
just a second. Mr. Salim has got a.
No. I just wanted to say, Brajamani Saab, that this is the first time I'm hearing the word aviation medicine. I have a very good relationship in the airlines.
Sir,
None of the doctors are qualified like that.
sir,
So please take up this. This would be something very unique. If you want to continue your medical side,
sir,
go ahead with it, because
sir,
this is very unique here.
sir.
So I
Sir,
think you got your answer. We'll give a chance to others. If anybody else has got,
sir,
you can connect with us.
one last
Yeah,
question, sir.
sure.
It is not
Go ahead.
related with all this, sir. Regarding, sir, resume writing, sir. I have come across some. One is military to corp, sir, or any other, sir.
You
For
can, if you find, see, military to corporate, that first of all, that a lot of people have asked me this question, so I'll take this opportunity to clarify. Colonel Manish Kumar is a separate person, and I am not Manish Kumar. Manish is a very capable and a very good guy, and I have not gone through his services and all this that, but I
Sir.
believe that he's doing a wonderful job, and
Sir.
So you can, if you have taken his this thing class or service or I don't know, and if you are happy with it, so be it. That's it,
Sure, sir.
right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know how he does it. We are doing it just because so many people have been asking this question repeatedly.
Sure.
So out of my experience, I'm taking this session. So it's not a chargeable session. I'm not getting anything out of it.
Sure.
It's purely, just to help out
Sure.
people.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you very
So
much, sir. Sir.
yeah. So anybody else who has got a question? I don't think there is any other question. And Navneet, I think, is having a good siesta and in the train. So poor guy, he had to log in from train. That's what good friends are. So thank you, Salim. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. It was wonderful interacting with you, and I'm grateful to you that you agreed to join on this. Now we will be troubling you in future as well, and we will also, keep connecting people, and we'll be seeking your help in placement of armed forces officers in your circle of influence and wherever possible, and also keep asking queries regarding this, on the Telegram channel.
The only thing is, I would love to help you guys, and it's a pleasure for me, first of all, to be here. Uh, if I get to see 3-4 CVs,
Sure.
leave alone their armed forces background. Understanding them is also, when you post it out, write to them that what do they understand about the hospital industry, first of all. So that should be a question which should be answered by all armed forces officers who are willing to see this as an industry. So it helps me to get, as I was saying, that we cut it short because that would have been something else, but I need to put on my other side of the hospital expertise, which was my business development. And I would do a business development on your people who are applying. I need to sit down, write about them, and then shoot these HR guys out and say, here I have a team of 3, 4, 5 people. I think they could be in this position. Why don't you talk to them? And I'm sure that well, I can't guarantee 100%, Manish, but I can guarantee that if we present these CVs rightly, these guys will get a job in the hospital.
Yeah, thank you so much, Salim. But and we will, we are having a session on CV writing also, and we will do it. We'll approach you after that session.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have some CVs, but there's a lot of work to be done on those. So
Right.
we are advising them accordingly. Right.
Right.
So thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining on this session. I hope it was you got something out of it, and both Salim and Commander Navneet Bali gave some really valuable advice. Please see the video once it's uploaded, take down the points, and try and follow what they said, and join Value Talks YouTube channel and Telegram channel for such useful information and videos. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. And with this, we wrap up this session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
You gotta focus on your